All right, got it working. Let's get started here in about a minute or two. All right, just let me know once everyone's in. Go ahead and type your something into the comment section. We'll get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do a little bit of work for the wrist and fingers today to start, and then we're going to do some core work after that. Okay, so let's start with some wrist mobility. Actually, if you have a phone or something, this can be helpful just to keep you honest when you're doing the exercise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my phone on my forearm. This is going to prevent me from rotating at the elbow. It's going to keep all the movement in my wrist. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to, keeping your fingers in one long line, you're going to point the wrist and point the fingers down towards the ground, extending the wrist out to the side, up towards thumb side, and down. So we're making circles. Notice that I'm not rotating at all in the elbow. All of that movement is coming from the wrist. Let's do like 5 rotations in one direction, then we'll switch. This way you can watch Twitch while you're doing it. Good. Feel free to switch directions. Did I just get up? No. I've been up for a few hours. Do I look scruffy? Good. Let's switch sides. Good. Switch directions. And good. Relax. We're going to go through and we're going to work with each individual finger. Let's start with the pinky. I'm going to start by pulling down on the first joint here I'll do it that way so you can see. First joint, second, and third. Give it a little compression. And then release, next finger, first joint, second joint, third joint, compress. This is Fortnite Fingers Rehab. Good. Middle finger, first joint, second joint, third joint. Compress and pull down just a little bit. You should feel a little stretch in the back of your finger, maybe back of your hand. Good. Pointer, first joint, second joint, third joint. Compress. Nice. And the thumb, wrap the thumb in. Hand goes over top. Compress. And release. Other hand. First joint, second joint, third joint. This finger stretching series is from a yoga series that's designed to help with arthritis and just kind of overuse of fingers and stuff, but it feels good even if you don't have arthritis. Good. Compress. Middle finger. And thumb. Good, release. Back to the other hand. We're going to do the opposite now. So that was, you call it like flexion of the finger. Now we're going to do extension. So I'm going to start by extending the wrist. It's going to lengthen all these fibers here, all the fascia. And then I'm going to slide my other hand down the finger till I get to the end, pulling it back. And just go through and do one finger at a time. When you get to the thumb, point the thumb straight up, other hand on top, and then pull back towards your elbow. Nice. Release. Other hand. Good. And thumb. Good. And release. Shake that out. Open and close the fingers. All right. Make a nice tight fist. Doesn't matter which hand you start with. Curl your fist in towards your shoulder as much as possible. Think of showing off your bicep. Other hand's going to go on top. Keep that fist nice and tight and closed. And then you're going to slowly extend the elbow. That's going to stretch all the fibers here along the back side of your forearm. Good, and release, other side. Tight fist, as tight as you can make it. Curl that fist in, bring it to your shoulder. Other hand compresses the fist, keeps it closed. And then you extend. Oh, definitely feel a nice stretch in the back of your forearm, maybe around the back of your wrist, back of the hand. Good, and release. Shake that out, shake that out. Other direction now. Hand by your shoulder, fingers pointing straight out. Hand on top, pull the fingers down, and extend. Good, and release, other side. Extend the wrist, other hand on top, and extend the elbow. Good, and relax, open and close, shake it out. Two more, we're gonna work with some rotation and twisting in the wrist, and then we'll get into some exercises. So for this first one, hand's gonna point towards my face. Other hand is gonna make the Spock symbol, wrap around the thumb like this, okay? So front hand, my thumb is on my pinky, other two fingers are splitting the thumb, and then I'm gonna twist in, pulling the wrist in towards my chest, okay? One more time, left hand out in front, right hand, Spock symbol, wrap the thumb, this thumb on the pinky, pull it in towards your chest. So I'm compressing this way and I'm rotating this way. And then my cat's face, see my cat's face in the corner. She's not having it. Good, and release. Same hand, palm facing away from your body, thumb underneath, interlace fingers, and then pull your wrist straight back. Okay, one more time. Right, so palm facing away, interlace fingers, pull in towards your chest and compress. And maybe try to rotate up a little bit. Oh yeah. Good, and release. Shake that out. All right, other side. Hand pointing in towards your face, Spock symbol, cover, twist. Good, and release. Palm faces away from the body, interlace fingers, and pull back. Good. And release, open, close, open, and close, open, and close. Nice. Wrist should be nice and warmed up now for what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to do some isometric work today. Work with beast pose, crab pose, maybe a few side planks. It's nice after you've warmed up the wrists like that to put some load through them. So let's start with beast pose. Start by getting onto all fours. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Take a second to maybe press the floor with your wrists. Maybe shift side to side. Good. Make sure your knees are just a little in from underneath your hips, right? We don't want them back here. We want them in just a little bit. Tuck the toes, press the floor away with your arms, suck the belly button up and in, and then lift. And let's hold for maybe 20 seconds or so, 20, 30 seconds. Good, and down. This time we're going to go up. We're going to practice lifting one foot, maybe the other, maybe a hand, maybe the other hand. Try to keep your weight from shifting side to side. So we don't want to counterbalance. We want to see if we can create stability just by our engagement here. All right, so going up, and 3, 2, 1, up. Without shifting weight, try to lift a foot. Try to lift another foot. Lift a hand. Other hand. Maybe a hand and a foot. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Nice. Take a second, shake that out. All right. We're going to work on the counter pose to that crab pose. So for this, fingers are going to be pointing back. If that's uncomfortable, you can try them out to the side. If you find this position difficult, try elevating your hands by putting them on blocks. You can even do it on the side of a bench. Okay, so find what's comfortable for you. Think of opening the shoulders. So I'm externally rotating, not this way, this way. Notice as I externally rotate, that forces my chest up and open. With my shoulder blades, I'm driving them down my back towards the floor, pressing the floor away. Feet are flat on the floor, and then I lift my butt maybe an inch or so off the floor. In this position, I don't want my pelvis tucked. I don't want to be rounding. I want to be extending the spine slightly. That will allow me to get my chest open and to open the shoulders. Okay, so think of lifting the tailbone up in the back. And let's hold this for 30 seconds. Make sure to keep your fingers engaged. Actively press the floor with your fingers. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down. We're going to do the same thing we did in beast pose. This time we're going to try to raise limbs, maybe a foot, maybe the other foot, maybe a hand, maybe the other hand. All right, let's give it a shot. 3, 2, 1, up. Start with the feet, one foot, other foot. If you want to try hand, start by, so if I'm going to lift my right hand, with my left arm, I'm going to really drive that into the floor, stabilize, and then lift. Other side, I'm going to lift my left hand, so with my right arm, I'm going to drive it down, stabilize, lift. Maybe try a hand and a foot. Maybe try to touch the foot. Nice. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down. Nice. Take a second, shake that out, open and close the hands. All right, the next step, now we take these positions and we move in them. So this is great exercise for your core, for stability, for neuromuscular coordination, and it's also fun. All right, so for this, I'll just demonstrate first in beast pose. So I'm going to start in my beast pose. I'm going to lift opposite limbs. So I'm going to lift my right hand and my left foot at the same time, shift my weight forward maybe 6 inches, hand and foot come down at the same time. Now I'm going to lift my left and right, shift forward, place, up, shift, place. What I'm trying to avoid is this. I don't want to just be walking across by shifting my weight. I really want to focus on stabilizing, shifting, down at the same time. Up at the same time, shift, down at the same time. Okay? Let's give that a shot, moving across the floor. Go nice and slow to start. Really try to coordinate everything. Up. Opposites lift, shift forward, down. Up, forward, down. Up, forward, down. Up, forward, down. Up, forward, down. Nice. Shake that out, shake that out. How does that feel? That's a good one too. If you start getting comfortable with that, you can put a plate on your back and walk across the floor. Great way to warm up the core and the shoulders and the hips. All right. One other move we're going to work on here after we do one more round of walking. We're going to do something called an under switch, where we transition from beast pose to crab pose. This is really good for the shoulders, for stabilizing and getting straight arm strength as you're moving the shoulder. Okay. We spend a lot of time when we work with the shoulder doing flexion, or our elbows are bent, different things. It's good for us to practice having the strength with our arms straight. All right, one more beast walk, and then we'll get into that. Remember to breathe. Nice. Take a second, open and close the hands. Doing a lot of work on the wrist and fingers today. Cool, shake it out. One last thing we'll play around with for a minute or two, and then we'll call it a class. We're going to transition from beast pose to crab pose. So we're going to do that by performing a move called an under switch. Under implies that something goes underneath, Switch means you're switching position. It's pretty straightforward. So if I'm in crab pose, I'm going to start by lifting opposite limbs. Right foot, left hand. Now the under part. Foot is going to go underneath. I'm pressing the floor away. I'm rotating on the ball of that foot. Now I'm here. Hand and foot come down. I'm in beast pose. Lift opposite limbs, under. Foot goes under. Notice that I'm pressing the floor away. Transition. Hand and foot come down at the same time. Okay? Just play around with that. Lift opposite limbs. Switch. Really focus on pressing the floor away actively with that shoulder. Nice. So you can see that's a great exercise, right? Like just what the shoulder has to do to stabilize as it changes position from an extended position to a flex position. So good for your shoulders. All right, I think we're going to call it there for today. Feels like a good enough workout for our wrists, for our shoulders, a good warm-up. Let me know if there's any questions. There's definitely ways to make this harder too if you're interested. I would take a moment too just to stretch and move the wrists a little bit here at the end since we put so much load through them. Nice. My wrists are still a little bit sore from the ring planks I was doing. It's crazy how much work you have to do here to keep the rings from moving. All right, thank you very much for tuning in. I've got to go study, get ready for finals next week. Much love to everyone. Thanks so much.